Hello, thanks for joining us on Nationwide. I'm Ruth, Aguele, and happy Workers' Day to every great worker out there. The organized labor is demanding the review of retirement age for all public servants from 60 to 65 years and from 35 years to 40 years of service. The organized labor made the demand during this year's Workers' Day celebration with the theme Workers' Rights and Socio-Economic Justice.
We have also encouraged, through NECA, the employers in the private sector to do the same. However, we recognize that there's a lot of more work to be done to improve the lives of Nigerian workers. We acknowledge the fact that many Nigerian workers continue to face significant challenges, which includes low take-home pay, lack of job security, unsatisfactory working conditions, to name a few. Comrades, we are committed as a government to...
We therefore, as a government, preserved work rights for the workers and following that enthroned socio-economic justice as exemplified in the following. 1, collective bargaining for a minimum wage as we did in 2019. 2, we presented bills to the National Assembly, which we passed at the Federal Executive Council, which will be sent to the National Assembly for consideration, where we removed about 7 obsolete legislations that deal with labor.
All right, excerpt there from the Workers' Day celebration held at the Eagle Square. And we want to expand the discourse. We have a guest in the studio, Dr. Makolo Hassan. He's the National President, National Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Hassan.
Thank you very much.
And happy Workers' Day.
Thanks.
All right, this year's theme is actually looking at workers' rights and socio-economic justice.
Yes.
How would you explain that?
Yes, it is timely, and we looked at it at the committee level that the appropriate theme for this year is workers' rights and socio-economic justice. What are we talking of here? We are talking of how to better the life of the downtrodden which is the worker, which are the workers. And just like the minister said, I'm happy if it is not going to be theoretical. We have come a long way, that what we call minimum wage today is nothing to write home about. The minimum wage now, if you interpret it in terms of dollars, it is less than $50 per month. We should not take any workers home. We are talking about a socio-economic right. This worker, average worker with maybe a family of 3, and you are giving, let's say, maybe it is increased even up to 60,000. You are going to use 35,000 to buy 1 bag of rice. Then how do you feed your children for the entire month? You are not talking about paying other bills. You are not talking about taking them to hospital. You are not talking about paying school fees. So at the end of the day, then the name that they have given us, that is the civil servant, you remain a servant. And in that situation, you can't build a home that you retire to with your children when you retire.
Okay.
And that, yes.
Dr. Hassan, and picking from what the minister said, he also mentioned that the government has also shown commitment towards decent work environment. And we saw the implementation of the consequential allowance, and also the SGF made mention of, what did he call it now, collective bargaining.
Yes.
So the role of workers working with the federal government, how do we move forward in that direction?
Very well. Now you are taking us to another dimension. Yes, the consequential has been approved for some segments, not every public servant in the country. There are a group of public servants now that are agitating that they were excluded. So that is there. That is one aspect. And very soon, maybe from NTA and other media, you'll be hearing, because there are agitations on ground already. which means what has been done now has been done.
For NTA, sorry to cut in, for NTA, we actually received that allowance.
Thank God for you because you are enjoying it. But like myself speaking with you here now, I have not seen it. And we are praying that it goes round. When it goes round to all workers, then we'll not say the government has done well. But again, as labor leaders, we are not averse to those who are enjoying it currently. All we are saying is to be expanded for all the workers in the country because, like I said, the salary we are taking currently is nothing to write home about.
And that is where social dialogue comes to play. You're from the academic session.
Very well.
And if everything we're doing, even as workers, is to ensure the unity and progress of the country, and for workers to be productive, yes, their voices should be heard, but the place of dialogue, social dialogue.
Yes.
Dr. Hassan, where's the place of social dialogue?
Yes. It is not new. Social dialogue is not new. Collective bargaining is not new in the country, and the aspect of reneging is not this issue of coming together to agree on a particular issues. Do we implement? As we talk now in the labor circle, there are agreements that were signed since last year and nothing has been said about it. So if the government will meet with workers and you agree on a particular issue and you go into action and implement, there will be no upheaval between the government and the workers.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Makolo Hassan. We'll continue to play our part as workers and also ensure that the federal government continue to put in its best. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
All right, still on the Workers' Day celebration, the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has joined the rest of the world to celebrate Nigerian workers on this year's International Workers' Day. In a statement, he described the day as a special day in most parts of the world, and in particular Nigeria, a day to honor the working people whose hard work continues to oil the wheel of human progress and advancement. Extending his hands of friendship to them through the two central labor unions, that's the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, he solicited their understanding and cooperation towards lifting Nigeria to greater heights. Similarly, President of the Senate Ahmad Lawan has congratulated all workers in Nigeria as they join their counterparts around the world to mark Workers' Day, that is today. Senator Lawan, in a statement, noted that the great Nigerian workers have been remarkable for their patriotism, commitment to nation building and resilience in the face of serious development challenges. He observed that the 9th National Assembly has guarded itself against any anti-labor legislation since inception in 2019, highlighting major bills passed by the 9th National Assembly, which include Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contracts Amendment Act 2019, among others. Labour leaders are calling on government at all levels to ensure social justice for Nigerian workers by giving them a living wage as against a minimum wage that is eroded by a low inflation. Speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, the union leaders also urged government to urgently address salary disparity among public employees for equitable distribution of wealth. Let's hear details from Lydia Sampson.
Labour leaders believe that thinking out of the box to proactively tackle the multifaceted challenges facing the Nigerian workers is the way to go. One of such challenges is salary disparity among workers, and to ensure social justice, Labour leaders advocate additional package for essential workers.
Eroded, talking about inflation eating into the fabrics of the wealth of their society, and it to be a rigmarole. So first for us, government must play its part. Let's deal with those macroeconomic and inherent contradictions that we have currently. If we don't deal with it, the story might just remain the same for a long time.
Nigerian workers are very patriotic. The basic minimum, if government does it, Nigerians are okay. They don't. Not everybody wants to stay in a high-rise building. Not everybody wants to fly in a private jet. But just give me the basics, and I'm okay.
They also pushed for non-negotiable welfare for Nigerian workers.
The injustice in the distribution of the wealth. And I believe that if we don't look at that and distribute this wealth justly, there will continue to be problems.
For others, A policy on labor education is required to bridge the knowledge gap on labor issues.
Policy formulators must think outside the box. Yes, Nigerian workers are resolute, and we would like to assure them that the NLC and the TUC leadership have resolved not to compromise their welfare, and will do everything possible in the year ahead to ensure that their welfare is protected.
Organized labor, employers and government should quickly work out an arrangement so that the new incoming administration, will be able to promote decent work agenda, should be able to consolidate on the gains we have recorded in the past few years.
In all, social justice is what labor leaders are demanding for Nigerian workers. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Still on the May Day celebration, the People's Democratic Party has saluted Nigerian workers as they celebrate this year's Workers' Day with their counterparts across the world. The party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologbunagba, in a statement commended Nigerian workers for their resilience, loyalty and patriotism in serving their fatherland. It charged Nigerian workers to use their strength and pivotal position in the country to protect and defend the nation's constitutional democracy at all times. Away from the Labour Day celebration, the immediate past Minister of Niger Delta Affairs and former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, has formally informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his aspiration to become the President of the 10th Senate. This was at an audience with the Nigerian leader at the presidential villa Sunday evening. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Senator Godswill Akpabio, who served as minority leader of the 8th Senate before his appointment as minister, has just been re-elected into the National Assembly. He is here to show President Muhammadu Buhari his certificate of return and formally appreciate him for his selfless service of the country, worthy legacies for posterity, and ensuring that the governing APC remains united and formidable.
I thanked him for the opportunity to serve Nigeria in that capacity, and also to let him know that we'll continue to pray for him, so that God will continue to sustain him as we move forward. And as the transition from him to the incoming president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that God will continue to give Nigeria peace, and through them, that progress will remain our portion in the country.
During the visit, Senator Akpabio sought President Muhammadu Buhari's blessings for his aspiration to become the president of the 10th Senate.
And he was happy to hear that.
So what is Senator Akpabio bringing on board?
Akpabio is known as an uncommon transformer. Akpabio is known as a man who is result-oriented. I recall that when I was a governor, I brought so many innovations to bear, infrastructurally, educationally, socially, and otherwise, and also in terms of human empowerment. So I intend to bring a lot of reforms into the Senate in the ways and manner we do business to assist the next administration to succeed. We will be very thorough in doing everything. We will bring about loyalty to the Constitution. We will bring about loyalty to Nigerians. We will tackle issues through legislation. We have done a lot of consultations, and they've been very positive and well received. In fact, it's almost like a woman who was already 8 months pregnant, just a month to deliver.
The 10th National Assembly will be inaugurated early next month under the incoming Bola Tinubu administration. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In a related development, South Youth and Stakeholders Forum have appealed to senators-elect for the 10th National Assembly to elect Senator Godswill Akpabio as Senate President. President of the group, Legborsi Yama Abana, while highlighting the achievements and leadership qualities of Senator Akpabio, notes that Akpabio-led National Assembly will promote amicable working relationship between the executive and the legislature.
We call on other geopolitical zones to cooperate with the South-South region in choosing who becomes the next president of the Senate. And for us, the square man we see for that square job is no other than Senator Godswill Akpabio, CON. His sterling qualities and uncommon performance as a governor Senate Minority Leader of the 8th Senate, Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, remain unparalleled. We wish to assure Mr. President-elect that the use of Niger Delta will continue to play her roles of ensuring conducive environments for economic activities to thrive.
All right, I hand you now to a hard worker who is also my colleague who is in Lagos, Michael. I'm sure he has news from the Workers' Day celebration. Michael.
Is for them to fix appropriate remuneration to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal on public sector workers. The Workers' Union stated this at the 2023 Workers' Day celebration in Lagos. Workers' Day celebration provides a platform for workers in glowing, colorful shares to present peculiar expectations of the government.
Commitment to workers under the contributing pension scheme. We have paid over 51.7 billion in pensions since the beginning of this administration. Given our commitment and disposition to meeting workers and labor's requests in matters of welfare and security, we are hopeful that we shall keep working together to give way to our aspiration of a rising Lagos.
Public service workers remained topical. The organized labor movement wants to be part of a broader consultation when discussions on subsidy removal comes up.
Sit down and discuss on how the subsidy removal effect will be cushioned by government. Recently, the federal government said they are adding 40% to salaries of the workers and they want to remove. But it's about shaving our head at our back because we were not taken into consideration.
The colorful processions by various trade unions in attendance marked the end of this year's Workers' Day celebration with the theme Workers' Rights and Socio-Economic Justice. The Registrar Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAM, Professor Oloyede, has expressed satisfaction over the level of compliance by the candidates, while charging participating students to maintain the peaceful tempo all through for their own good. He gave the charge after monitoring several computer-based test centers in Lagos. Dana Jali has details.
A total of over 1.5 million candidates are currently writing the 2023 JAM UTME, with 337 of them visually impaired. 17-year-old Cynthia Ugoke is among candidates who are optimistic of coming out with flying colors.
My cutoff mark is actually 240, but I'm looking forward to making 300 so that I can get admission on time.
The JAM registrar, Professor Oloyede, who visited some of the computer-based test centers in Lagos, expressed satisfaction with the exercise. He noted that the fight against examination malpractice is yielding the desired results in Nigeria.
I'm impressed by the performance of the centers in Lagos, the conduct of the students, and I also believe that we are giving sense of belonging to to those who we believe are incapacitated by one disability or the other.
Professor Peter Okebukola, who is in charge of the visually impaired persons exams, Lagos Zone, appreciated the board for initiating the all-inclusive platform for the physically challenged persons to exhibit their ability.
There are difficulty with using the CBT platform. There are difficulty with all manner of things, logistics. So he said, let me set up a JAM Equal Opportunity Group to attend to the needs of these special people.
So far, the examination has remained seamless as candidates are aligning with the rules and regulations across the centers visited. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages, and when we return, Nationwide continues from our Kaduna Network Center. Please stay.
REFARM is the umbrella association of the over 12 million Nigerian rice farmers. Through the administration of good and quality extension services, the Nigerian rice farmer has imbibed good agronomic practices, as a result of which the average yield per hectare, which used to be 1 ton as at 2015, is today 5 metric tons. This has resulted to the increase of the national production from 3 million per annum to 9 million tons per annum. As a result of this, today Nigeria is the largest producer of rice in Africa. Since the beginning of 2015, or the beginning of Anko-Bora program, Nigeria has officially not imported any rice into the country. All these successes could not have been achieved without the political will of Mr. President.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and
look into the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate tactic.
You know, many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
These and applications, there are terms and conditions that.
Of course, it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Nnamdi Odiko.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori.
Kaduna Network Center. The organized labor in Kaduna State has called on the state government to review all cases of wrongful disengagement of workers in the interest of fairness. This formed part of the central message delivered by the state chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Ayuba Suleiman, during May Day celebration held at Ahmadu Bello Stadium. Ahmed Zangu reports.
This year's May Day celebration was unique in Kaduna as more than 70 unions from across the state participated. This year's theme, which is promotion of workers' rights and socio-economic justice, set the tone of 12 demands by the state chairman Nigerian Labour Congress in Kaduna, Comrade Ayuba Suleiman.
We have about 12 points that we presented to the new administration. Luckily enough, we have engaged them when they were candidates. To God be the glory, now we have an elected governor who is a comrade.
The NLC chairman also called on workers to rise up to their responsibilities by being diligent in their duties. Amazongo, NTA News.
Arewa youth concerned citizens say they want the leadership of the 10th National House of Representatives to be zoned to the northwest. The group, during a news conference in Kaduna, suggested Aminu Sani Jaji, a House of Representatives member from Zamfara State, be considered by lawmakers as well as the leadership of APC as the next speaker. Muhammad Umar Ajingi tells us more.
The convergence of this interest group in Kaduna is to drum support for the candidature of Aminu Sani Jaji from Zamfara State as the Speaker House of Representatives in the 10th Assembly. The reason why they are pushing for the National Working Committee of the ruling All Progressive Congress to zone the office of the Speaker to the northwest. Putting stronger arguments for the suitability of Aminu Sani Jaji, the group believe that he is the most qualified candidate considering his wealth of experience and political maturity, in addition to his understanding with the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
For equal representation, justice and fair play, we are calling on the leadership of the APC and the president-elect in particular to support the candidature of Aminu Sani Jaji.
The area concerned citizens are calling on Nigerians and the leadership of the APC to support Aminu Sani Jaji to ensure he emerges as the next Speaker of the House of Representatives to enable him give Aswaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu all the necessary support he needs to succeed. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Amina. Fierce fighting broke out again Monday between Sudan's army and paramilitary forces, despite the formal extension of a truce after the United Nations warned that the humanitarian situation has reached a breaking point. Charles Alpha reports.
On Monday, warplanes were flying over southern Khartoum, with anti-aircraft guns also firing, while loud guns were also heard on Monday. Burhan and Dagalo have agreed multiple poorly observed ceasefires and extended the latest formal truce on Sunday by 72 hours, with each side repeatedly blaming the other for the frequent violations. Millions of Sudanese are trapped in the country, where aid workers are among the dead. Humanitarian facilities have been looted and foreign aid groups have been forced to essentially halt all aid operations.
The fighting must stop immediately. We need an all-out effort for peace. This conflict will not and must not be resolved on the battlefield with the bodies of Sudan's people. The Sudanese people have made their wishes very clear. They want peace and the restoration of civilian rule through the transition to democracy. The parties to the conflict must respect the 72-hour ceasefire and come together to establish a permanent cessation of hostilities.
Top UN humanitarian official Martin Griffin said he was heading to the region to help bring immediate relief to the millions of people whose lives have turned upside down overnight, saying the humanitarian situation is reaching breaking point as goods, essentials for people's survival, are becoming scarce in the hardest hit urban centers, especially Khartoum. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The chairperson, Nigerians and Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri-Erewa, says Egypt has opened her borders for Nigerians. The chairperson says the development was as a result of intervention of President Muhammadu Buhari and President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. She, however, states that a stringent condition was attached to the border opening. The conditions were not disclosed to the public. To this end, the process of moving Nigerians from Sudan border to Aswan for airlift is in progress. In another development, the federal government has evacuated more than 1,000 Nigerians from Khartoum and are on their way to Port of Sudan. Some of the students on transit told NTA that they were moving in a convoy of 27 buses, with each bus carrying 50 to 55 Nigerians, adding that no one was left behind. The government is looking at the possibility of using Port Sudan to ship Nigerians to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia and fly them home. And back home, President Muhammadu Buhari administration, we hear, is bequeathing to Nigerians a healthy system that has an emergency capacity for rapid response in line with modern technology. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this in his Oro country home in Kwara State when he inaugurated an 80-bed capacity medical facility. Anthony Forsen reports.
Hospital facilitated by the minister was built under the office of the SDG. Lai Mohammed said the outgoing administration is determined to expand universal health coverage for all Nigerians.
The 80-bed being commissioned is equally equipped to promote the health of mothers and children. It has a theater, incubators, ventilators, phototherapy machines, patient monitor, children beds, examination beds, 100 kVA generator, furnished and lit with solar street lights.
The minister pointed out that such healthcare facilities are dotted across the state.
This development is in line with Muhammadu Buhari's administration's commitment to providing health facilities to cater for the needs of Nigerians. Let me commend the SDG's office for the giant strides it has recorded in the provision of social services across the country, particularly in remote places.
President Muhammadu Buhari has made a commitment to lift millions of people out of poverty within a decade. And in order to achieve this, we must prioritize our intervention with multidimensional effects such as basic health care, life skill development program, education, job opportunities, and one of the critical important infrastructure that was mentioned by Alhaji Lai Mohammed that is going to be deployed to this community to address Goal 7 of the SDG.
The minister had earlier commissioned a 40-bed multi-purpose hospital in Abuja, which was also funded by the office of the SDG. The minister is in his Oro country home to commission projects which he facilitated. In Oro, Kwara State, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Establishment of Nigerian Navy Girls Secondary School in Ona, local government area of Akwa Ibom State, is set to provide job opportunities not only to the people of the state but for the nation as well. Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Aguele stated this during the handing over of Model Secondary School 2, Akwa Ibom, to the Nigerian Navy for establishment of Navy Girls Secondary School in the state. Kelvin Samuel will tell us more.
Represented by the Commissioner for Education at Akwa Ibom State, the governor, while handing over the documents and keys of the former Model Secondary School to Ubium, Awaona local government area, to the Chief of Naval Staff for the establishment of Navy Girls Secondary School, says it is part of government's effort to bring quality education closer to the reach of the people in rural communities, while assuring regular support for the actualization of the project.
Children are the greatest resource of any nation.
Chief of Naval Staff, represented by the Commander NNS Jubilee, Commodore Olumide Fazaz, assures that the coming of Navy School to the area will not only help in enhancing education, but also be of immense economic benefit to the people.
These schools will produce future leaders to the benefit of Akwa Ibom State and the nation at large. On behalf of the children Naval Staff, I want to most sincerely appreciate His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, and the entire people of Akwa Ibom State for their unflinching support and cooperation with the Nigerian Navy.
When established, Akwa Ibom State will be playing host to the first ever Navy Girls Secondary School in the country. In Uyo, Kelvin Samuel, NTA News.
Since its establishment more than 50 years ago, the Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association has been in the forefront of empowering its members, made up of wives and dependents of Air Force personnel, with requisite skills for their self-employment and upliftment in the society. This time around, however, members of NAFOA are supporting their spouses as the Nigerian Air Force commemorates 59 years of its establishment with a road walk around the city of Abuja as a form of public sensitization.
NAFOA has chosen today to ensure that our members and guests partake in this health work and educate ourselves in line with the theme, the heart and lifestyle modification. We all know that the heart is the pump that provides oxygen and nutrients to all the tissues in our bodies. Therefore, keeping it in great shape is very vital to health life.
We must always work together. We must always see ourselves. It is not possible for you to live with a group of people and you never have issues, misunderstanding, etc. But the most important thing is to forgive. Let's learn to always forgive one another. Do not bear grudge. That way you will have a healthy heart.
Nigerian Air Force has mapped out a series of activities to mark this year's celebration. And still basking in the euphoria of the Workers' Day, which was celebrated colorfully in Kano State. Also, Abdullahi Mustafa covered the event at the Sani Abacha Stadium, where Governor Ganduje announced a parting gift for school teachers.
This is Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje's first official engagement in his last month as governor of Kano State. Apparently, the last moment he will be reviewing a Workers' Day march passed by representatives of various trade associations in Kano. A day to celebrate the roles and sacrifices of workers to nation building has been done in other parts of the country. A day described by Dr. Ganduje as that of reckoning and used it to blow the trumpet of his administration.
I take pride to mention that throughout the tenure of my administration, I have done everything possible within the limit of available governmental fiscal and financial resources to give whatever is due to the labor.
He also listed policies, initiatives and reforms by the outgoing government towards improving welfare and working conditions of civil servants. The governor also announced a parting gift to school teachers in the state.
I am pleased to announce that government has granted waiver for payment to the subscribers of the Ingogo Teachers Reserved Area Housing Scheme.
Thank you very much, sir.
Kano Council Chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Kabiru Inua, thanked the governor for ensuring industrial harmony in the state. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
All right, let's head to Makurdi and find out how the day was celebrated. Susan O'Malley is standing by. Susan?
Thank you for joining us in Makurdi. Benue civil servants have expressed worry over salary and pension arrears as they mark this year's Workers' Day. They, however, appreciated the state government for the implementation of the minimum wage and elongation of retirement age of teachers from 60 to 65 years. Benue State Governor Samuel Utom was represented by the Commissioner for Education, Dr. Sawan Tanongo, at the NLC Secretariat Makurdi, where the ceremony was held. Charles Abba reports.
1st May every year, workers in Benue State usually converge on the IBB Square, Makurdi, to mark Workers' Day. But the contrary tends to present itself this year. What are the reasons for this? A visit to the State Secretariat of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Makurdi, revealed that a low-key ceremony was on to mark the day.
So why we're here, basically is because we are mourning instead of celebrating at IBB Square. In as much as you have done very badly in the terms of salary, there are some certain areas that you have done well.
He appealed to the state government to extend the retirement age of 65 and 40 of service approved for teachers and lecturers in tertiary institutions to workers in all sectors. Benue State Governor Samuel Utom, represented by the Commissioner for Education, Dr. Sawan Tanongo, who commended the workers for their resilience and commitment, gave assurances of a brighter future for workers.
As we celebrate this year's Workers' Day, I sincerely express my solidarity and appreciation for the hard-working Benue civil servants who keep our economy running and our society functioning smoothly.
The workers are hopeful that the present administration will clear the salary and pension arrears before its exit on May 29 to put smiles on their faces.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Ensuring improved productivity and food security for the Nigerian populace requires checkmating sharp practices by manufacturers and dealers in fertilizer and other agrochemicals. To this end, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is evolving strategies to sanitize the fertilizer industry. Elias Itiab completes the report.
In recent years, farmers in Benue State have continued to grapple with challenges of fake and adulterated fertilizers and other agrochemical substances and underweight packaging, resulting to poor crop productivity and ensuing food shortages. As a way of addressing this trend, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, through its Farm Input Support Services Department, has put in place strategies to checkmate fraudulent practices in the fertilizer industry. The sensitization program with key actors in the industry is to adequately enlighten dealers and the farming community on the effects and probable sanctions as contained in the National Fertilizer Quality Control Act. Participants at the session decried the sharp practices by miscreants in the industry, pledging their support to stamp out these fraudulent practices.
With what we heard from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Industry Support Services, we are particularly very satisfied that machineries are now put in place to make sure that substandard products no longer litter our markets today.
With this, the session believes will build farmers' confidence and enhance food productivity and security for the nation. In Makurdi, Elias, Etiaf, NTA News.
And that's our package from Makurdi. Happy Workers' Day. The news continues with Ruth in Abuja after this timeout.
Cannot express how we feel. Before the bridge, the road from here, Nasarawa to Loko, is about 74 kilometers. This is the link between Nasarawa and Loko. The bridge, which is about 3-5 kilometers across the river Benue, has been on for about 10 years now. Before now, if you live here for Loko, 74 kilometers, and somebody leaves Nasarawa for Kaduna, he will get to Kaduna before you get to Loko. The implication of the completion of this bridge is the cutting of the travel distance by about 3 hours. Our people from Nasarawa can now travel from here to Onitsha and come back on the same day. The economic and social consequences of this milestone development can hardly be compared to. The ease with which people move has opened the area, and many people are coming around now to invest in agriculture. Where to score this government on this achievement, we will score them extremely high because it has changed the dynamics of the social and economic activities of our people.
We brought you the ballot.
Are you not tainted by association and not worried that your good manners may likely get corrupted?
No, I don't think so.
Personality data profiling of citizens in the country.
Now we bring you the mandate. Join us Mondays at 10:05 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. on Wednesdays and Fridays. The mandate showing on the network service of the NTA.
Welcome back. The federal government says it is committed to granting asylum to persons with genuine applications. Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internet Displaced Persons, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, gave the assurance in Kefi during a workshop organized for case officers on nationality screening for asylum seekers. Ungusia Peve reports.
Nationality questions presented by some asylum seekers in Nigeria are complicated, requiring guidance from experts in the field of nationality. Hence, this session to build capacity for personnel in that area.
The issue of nationality screening is non-negotiable because it is extremely important that we kind of profile people in the right manner and in the right way. We'll continue to build capacity of our staff, partnering with other stakeholders, because this is a joint operation.
A commissioner with United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Mwihaki Kinyajui, says the thematic discussion is timely as naughty-case scenarios will be presented for resolution.
We do support the Nigerian government in ensuring the standards for screening new arrivals, and the status determination procedure is fair, is efficient, and meets the international and national standards for the protection of refugees.
Our refugee status determination officers need to be well equipped so as to, put into practice the standard operating procedure for identifying persons who are eligible for international protection.
With refreshed ideas, it is expected the officers will offer better service to those seeking better lives. From Kefi, Nguse PV, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force 001 aircraft, also called the presidential jet, has left the country for a comprehensive maintenance ahead of the May 29 inauguration of the new president. State House correspondent reports on President Buhari's last flight on the aircraft nicknamed the Eagle One.
This customized Boeing 737 business jet has been the main aircraft for President Muhammadu Buhari. With its comfortability, better experience than imagined, the Eagle One for nearly 8 years conveyed the president in company of his aides to and from official engagements nationally and internationally. And as Nigeria prepares for a smooth transition to the next administration in less than 30 days, the presidential aircraft has been taken out of the country for a comprehensive maintenance. This is to make it ready for use by the incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Consequently, for President Muhammadu Buhari, the April 25th trip to Ghana for the third extraordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the Gulf of Guinea Commission was his last on 001. The Commander, Presidential Air Fleet, Air Vice Marshal Abubakar Yero Abdullahi, was in charge as always.
You can see it, whether I'm flying in this aircraft or in the helicopter or in any smaller aircraft, he is the one that picks the pilots and supervises them. So really, to be fair, professionally, they've been doing their best, and their best has proved to be good enough.
President Buhari does not fly alone on 001. Always with him are his personal aides and others whose services are critical to his security, well-being, and functions as head of state, of course, including the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
It is a unique privilege that one will cherish for life, to have the opportunity of flying not only with Mr. President, but the #1 aircraft in Nigeria.
We have traveled in this plane almost around the world, in turbulent weather, in calm weather. God has seen us through.
And to the best of my knowledge, there has never been any issue on the plane that the president has reacted negatively.
People wonder what it is like inside the aircraft of Mr. President. You know, it's not a big aircraft; it's a small, modest aircraft, but we are comfortable and we enjoy it.
We've had an incredible experience, one that we can always look back to and cherish for the rest of our lives.
It's been an amazing journey so far, and I consider it a real privilege. The experience is second to none.
The Eagle One is being maintained and manned by the pilots and crew members of the Nigerian Air Force and other professionals.
A privilege for me especially to be called upon to serve the nation. It's an honor touring the world with you. Inshallah, we get to see you again.
Pending the handover to the new government on May 29th, President Buhari will be flying other aircrafts on the presidential air fleet. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, is set to establish a cashew processing plant in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, for value chain development of the cash crop. Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, who accompanied NEPC's Executive Director, Ezra Yakusak, on an inspection tour of some cashew farms in Ogbomoso, says the move will serve as a major boost for wealth creation and employment for youths in the area.
Here in Ogbomoso, to see the farmers, interact with them, and to arrange a PPP arrangement, a public-private partnership arrangement, to set up a cashew processing plant here in Ogbomoso, along with the farmers. It's not going to be 100% government. They will be part of it, they will contribute to it, and they will run it. The objective is to increase production.
It's the news we had waited to hear some 2-3 years ago, and finally the news is here. Apart from cassava, cashew is one of the most farmed crop here. The quality is #1 globally. I believe that there's a value chain in cashew production that will employ not just the adults, but also the youth.
Comfort Amadou reports that the NEPC is also working on supporting small-scale farmers to achieve commercial production of cashew, which tops the chart of non-oil exportable products in international markets. Meanwhile, NEPC has commenced an organic cashew certification program for farmers in the country. From the judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has struck out the EFCC criminal charge against former Minister of Aviation Femi Fani-Kayode. Justice Isiagu gave the order at the resumed trial of the matter in Lagos. The court also held that the traveling documents of the defendant should be returned to him. The order of the trial court followed the decision of the Court of Appeal, which quashed all the counts preferred against Femi Fani-Kayode by the EFCC. Sports update is next.
Nigeria's Golden Eaglet will face